Well, since I just started the recording, let me do the official welcome and welcome you folks as we're awaiting others to arrive. We had a whole bunch of RSVPs. This is your monthly WordPress web help meeting. We don't have a presentation this month. I'm hoping that will be a different situation next month. I'm hoping that Eric might have something for us next month. But regardless, welcome. Glad you folks are here. This is usually the point where we're calling for if anybody has any issues, and of course, issues don't have to be necessarily amateur issues. You know, if we've got some pretty advanced WordPress minds here. We deal with WordPress issues at various levels. We also talk about business. You know, if there's things that are challenging you and let's face it, every developer is a small business, whether they're a freelance or actually the head of an agency. So if you have any situations that are facing you, or if maybe you've resolved a situation recently in business that may fall a little outside the strictures of WordPress, I've been trying to cast a bit of a bigger net in terms of our marketing, in terms of our small business challenges. So please feel free to tell us about that. Anyway, why don't we start by, I'll put it here into the chat. And I do encourage you to put information in the chat, and that includes contact information, how we can reach you. An important part of what we do is connect with each other. That way we can help each other with our projects. That way we might be able to take on projects that are bigger than we're able to under normal circumstances. We're able to expand into areas that we may not have a great deal of experience in. Anyway, I'm going to go around and ask folks to introduce themselves. But before I do that, let me do a quick reminder of who we are and our guidelines. You know, we are a WordPress web help meetup group for people who might have a WordPress question, problem, challenge. And of course, we also need experts with knowledge and experience and the willingness to share it. So we get together and we have kind of a mutual aid society here where we ask questions, resolve situations, we discuss topics, issues, and products in the WordPress world. Mike, I'm hoping, will gift us with a few minutes of WordPress news a little later on. As far as guidelines, they're pretty basic, and I've never really been concerned about it in this group. You know, we keep our comments and discussions respectful. We do sometimes dip our toes into some controversial topics, especially as we're seeing, controversy seep into the WordPress world. So we'll be talking about things that people might have diverging viewpoints on. So we ask everybody to keep it respectful. We do ask, if you can add a profile photo to your Zoom account. I know I always prefer it if I can see you guys' voice, but I would rather have you guys in the meeting and participating any way we get you. We don't do the virtual hand very much unless we're having, a lot of folks, which we're kind of light tonight. Ask you to mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And well, we're not having a speaker presentation, but always encourage you to type your questions in the chat. And with that, I will move to intros. And ask you to, take a minute. I'll call on you in the order that I see you here on my screen. It's always a bit of a mystery how WordPress organizes us in the grid. So take a minute. Tell us who you are, where you are in the world, what it is you do. Enter your contact information, like I've said.
I have to get the door. I'll be back.
Yeah, okay. Why you're here, any ideas that you might have for our group moving forward, especially if you have a presentation that you have recently seen, which might be of benefit to people interested in WordPress or those ancillary topics I discussed. And tell us what your biggest WordPress or business challenge is. And with that, I'll start, if you don't mind, with Stephen J. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Take a minute and tell us about you.
Hey everyone, my name is Stephen J. Carnham. I'm a software extensioneer, is what I like to call myself. I work with a lot of open source projects and like to mix them up and mash them up and basically do development mashups. I've been in the WordPress space for well over 18 years. I used to run a company called ServerPress, which you may have been familiar with. But I used to also run the Advanced WordPress group here in San Diego. As one of the founders of that group. And we have a huge online presence. I'm no longer a moderator. I stepped down several years ago. But if you're on Facebook or on Twitter, then you can find the Advanced WordPress group. More active, very active actually in the Facebook groups.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think we're the largest Facebook group in WordPress, or one of the largest ones. Um, yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely love to pick your brain as a more experienced administrator, especially here in San Diego. One of the things that we're always looking for is people to present to our group, topics that are of interest, specifically in the WordPress world, also, in the woo world, which is an important subculture of WordPress. And we've got Mike here, who's very entrenched in that world. He's a great resource, but we're always looking for people to actually put together a presentation that might be useful for us,
Yeah,
products
certainly. I'd love to
and
do
what
that.
have you. Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to you. I made a note of your email there. Um, and how about Mike? Tell us about you.
Yeah, I'm Mike from Spokane, Washington. I run a bunch of meetups, WordPress, WooCommerce meetups, and I'm not really an expert in the space. I'm more of a pure business. At least that's where my experience has been. But I do enjoy learning about WordPress and WooCommerce and learning from all the great resources that come to these meetups. So thanks for hosting, Edward. Forward to another meetup.
All right. And always a pleasure to see you, sir. You always bring a lot to the table. Brendan is here. Brendan.
Hey everyone, Brendan O'Connell. I'm based here in San Diego and I work for a WordPress agency. I do product support for a remote product company, Automatic CSS, and I have a small YouTube channel where I do WordPress tutorials and other web technologies, a lot of AI and automation lately. So yeah, just here to learn from you fine folks and give back where I can.
All right. Good to see you. Good to see you, sir. And pleased to see my friend Eagle is in the house. Eagle, you want to unmute and introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself?
If I can remember who I am today. Yeah, I'm Eagle. I'm in the Santa Cruz, California location, and I run the Santa Cruz and San Jose WordPress meetups. Run my own small agency, developing, maintaining, hosting, and a lot of white label support for other developers and such for more technical aspects of their projects, database, email security, migrations, fixing problems when they have them. Seems to be what I do mostly these days.
And you've helped me more than once.
That's true. So yeah, that's what I do. And I run the WP Help Desk .support website and the new WP Help Desk .support community.
Please put some links in
They're
the
all there.
chat if you got some ready to deploy, especially for that help desk. That's a really useful.
It's already there.
And okay, good. And it's interesting to watch it evolve, develop as well.
Yeah.
All right, well, great. Good to see you, sir, or sort of see you. My favorite Rembrandt painting of Eagle there. Which brings us to me. Here, I'll do the shameless plug. I'm Edward Sanchez. My company is Brass Ring Web Design. I've been involved in WordPress development, in web design since the 98 or so, and been specializing in WordPress since about 2009. My specialty is helping small businesses to not just set up a website. My philosophy is basically the website is the hub of the marketing, but the philosophy implies that you have to have spokes. So I specialize in making sure that people who are small businesses are able to have a more sophisticated marketing reach by way of spokes such as email marketing. I'm a constant contact partner, and also in social media. And I get involved in print media, business card, basically putting together a holistic marketing plan with a strong, effective WordPress website at the hub. And it's an honor to be your host and see you guys all here. Nobody mentioned having any sort of issues as yet. I haven't given up hope that we'll have some other folks show up and participate. Maybe, if you don't mind, Mike, and I don't mean to call you to the carpet, but have you got some WordPress news that you can easily shift into, and that might be fodder for some discussion?
I have the news from last Wednesday. I don't have the news for this Wednesday up yet. In fact, I was probably going to be doing that during the meetup, searching for WooCommerce
Well,
news.
give
But
it,
I can go over Wednesday's news, but you've already seen it. And Eagle's already seen it. I don't know if Brendan was there or not, but if
well,
that's
we got Brendan and Steven and all our, whoever participates. We always get a fair amount of replays after this, so can't just think in terms of the people in the room, but those who come later on. So maybe you can throw some news items up there and see if it fosters some discussion.
so. Are you waiting to see if other people show up, or do you want me to?
No, let's
I'm not sure what you're
see what the news
asking.
see what the news brings us. Let's use it as a launch point.
So you want me to share the news then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
This is as good a point, unless somebody has a topic that they would like to discuss. I figure the
You
news in
you
the digital space is as good a place to start.
so host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, nuts. Hang on a second here. Let me change that. So, all participants. All right. You guys should all be able to share your screens, and it's a free for all at this point.
All right, you should be able to see my screen now. I'll put the link
Indeed.
in the chat.
Yes,
Anyway,
sir.
this is the Advanced Digital Collective. This is the blog, which has our weekly WooCommerce updates, and then here is a list of mostly online meetups.
I like how I like how this page is developing since you've been playing with AI and creating new WordPress. I'm sorry, Woo
Yeah,
graphics. It's
this is
the
I'm
page.
using Stable Diffusion is the AI tool I've been using for these images.
Yeah.
I'll just show, just because you may be interested, I'll go ahead and show you how this works. Hopefully that'll load here in just a minute. Okay, here's a Stable Diffusion site, and I will put that link in the chat in a minute here. Anyway, what I like about it is you can decide the scaling of it, the aspect
Hmm.
ratio. And what I typically do is I do landscape, and then I just throw in something like this week, I think I'm going to do a NASCAR with Woo on the side, on the door, and it'll generate it. It takes about 5 minutes or so. I won't generate one now. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you can do it different styles, like Asian photography, fantasy. This changes from time to time. Um,
Hmm.
you can infuse just different kind of effects. And there's other stuff you can do. Now, there's a paid version, but this is free. The paid versions lets you do a lot more additional prompts and stuff, but I've only been using the free version. And
Now,
this,
did you have to use that style designator, or does it
no, you
also?
have the option. You can go no
Okay.
style, or you can go like they want you to verify that you're human. So if I was to do it, but then you can just click on any of these, or you can do
Hmm.
it on none. Right here.
That's kind of an
Default is none.
ironic. That's an ironic requirement for an AI tool, huh?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Uh,
Do
anyway,
so how does it do when you don't give it a stylistic over?
um,
How does it do
this
on
one
just
was
your
no
freelance,
style.
your
This one
freestyle?
here, this Woo. I
Uh-huh.
think this one here, the 2025. I don't think I'd put any styles in it. These other ones I've done. I think I did the one of them was Asian in fantasy, and another one was something or other. I just playing around with them. But yeah, I just said, give me a mall shot with a bunch of Woo stores, and it generated this one over here. I said, give me 13 Woo flags, and that's what it did. You know, this one here was not. This is the actual new Woo
The new
logo.
logo, yeah.
It was part of the news of that week. But if I jump into this, and the reason I do it this way is that the blog, when I share, if anybody's interested in a link, they can just go to the link. All these
Hmm.
links here are hot links, so I
Right.
don't have to keep putting them in the chat. But what I typically do is I talk about the upcoming meetups. These first two is Eric and Eagle. This links to Eagle's a support community, which he's just started in the last couple months or so, and it's pretty useful. You have to sign up for it; it's free. Get an email, and you can get weekly updates. And then he also has his entire help desk page that great resource. If you're into WordPress, you probably want to bookmark this his help desk support. And then Eric, most of us know Eric being a pretty
Yeah.
resourceful web e-commerce email security guy, and he has events every month. Last week, most of these have passed. These are emails or meetups that have happened. We are on the WordPress web help today at 6 o'clock, which is Edward, which is where we're in now. And then
Yeah.
tomorrow, the
That's
Elementor
awesome.
community's got a meetup.
Hey,
I think there's also another one
put the
coming.
link to to your source in case anybody wants to follow along.
I don't know what you're saying.
Did you? I don't think you put the link to all this
You mean to the page, this
to
meetup page?
your master page. Well,
Well, I'm kind of in
one
the,
level up.
I will, but let me, if I turn this off, I don't know how to get to the,
I'll put it in there.
yeah, I got a screen issues. When I'm sharing, I can't get around Zoom very well,
Oh,
right? But I was going to put the links in a little bit, or Eagle can do it. Eagle knows all these. And I'll put that stable diffusion link in there a little bit. I just can't find the share. There it's the share.
there it is.
There it is.
All right, I've got it up
All
on my
right.
screen.
Let me see if
Cool.
while I still have the stable diffusion link. Yeah, there's the link to that AI image generator. That's
Mhm.
it. And then, or Brandon put the link to my Woo Wednesday meetup blog. So anyway, there's the notes. There's two Elementor. There's a Divi one tomorrow, which is Corey she's in San Antonio. That came in after the last meetup. And then this Elementor Global Community is Sharon, who gave the presentation last week. She's doing meetups with the Elementor crowd. And that's Wednesday, a couple hours before Woo Wednesday. The Woo News, we're on 9.7.1, which was a dot release. That was as of last Wednesday. I haven't looked at the developer blog to see what's new. They're mostly little fixes that they put in there for that last release. These are links to talking about what was in each of these releases. You can check it out. How to choose a theme for your store. Most everybody in here is advanced. You're going to know most of the stuff that's in that article, but sometimes in the meetups, and I usually get 20 or so at my meetups, and there's usually a few beginners or less experienced. There's also an article in the general blog, not the developer blog, on how to start drop shipping. Seemed like a fairly comprehensive article there for those that want to drop ship. And the best WooCommerce discount plugins. And this is for when you're trying to get conversions and they get to the cart page and they abandon the cart, and there's lots of ways to add them a free coupon or a 2-for-1 or 20% off or whatever. This article talks about the top ones, and I'm not recommending any of them, but those that are running Woo stores that want to help with conversions, this article could be useful. WordPress news, we're on 6.7.2 as of last Wednesday. 6.8 beta is now out. I think this new release is, I think it's April 15th. I'm not sure, but it's coming up. It's it's probably less than a month away now, or about a month away. But so that you can read about what's coming in the next
370 enhancements, 520 bug fixes, and 230 tickets. That's
yeah.
I
I think
pretty.
it's going to be a fairly decent release. A lot of it's just little.
Most of what it's doing though is just there are very few actual new user kind of enhancements. They're mostly developer stuff, and then a lot of bug fixes.
So the next article is not really WordPress, but it has to do with a payment transfer app called Zelle. And there's a couple of them that got sued by the government. And this article is written by Stephen Moore. I've known him since he wrote for the opinion page of the Wall Street Journal. So I've kind of followed him on and off for 25 years or something. He tends to be a right winger, and some people don't like that. But he's talking about Zelle and this transfer. And some people use these transfer payments. And he talks about how their record is so good, he doesn't really understand why this lawsuit's even going on. And you can read about it if you want. If you're using Zelle or a similar peer-to-peer system, you might want to read this article so you can kind of understand what's going on. But he says these guys are better than most of the banks, way cheaper. It's a great resource. And so I threw it in there because you can take Zelle transfers to sell with WooCommerce. So essential add-ons for Elementor, XSS vulnerability discovered. For those of you that are Elementor's had a lot of problems this last year or two. Lots of little glitches and we all know Steve Kinsey, who sort of lost his Elementor religion in the last year
I was
ago.
going to say, well, let's welcome Steve to the room. Good to see you there, Steve.
Oh, hi, Steve.
Or sort of see you.
Well,
I always
I'm just
encourage
in
people to
I'm eating, so
to turn on their camera.
Well, I'm
Makes it a
eating,
little bit more,
but I'm eating. I'm eating,
human.
but I'm
But
eating.
good to see you.
So I'm just going through the Woo news for Edward from last week. So none
Hey,
of it.
if I can at the point where we're talking about Elementor, I'm still at the point where, and for years I have avoided third party builders. I was simultaneously thrilled and afraid when Gutenberg came along. But I like the idea of not having the additional proprietary nature and the separation of content from the core and all that. By and large, am I odd? And anybody feel free to jump in on this. Am I odd in sticking to trying to use the core
Yeah.
primarily? I sometimes do use some extension blocks, of course.
No, not at all. I like Gutenberg. I design around it just because, yeah, just the stability and having to use core and but again, you have to choose the right tool for the job at hand.
Because
So
Elementor seems, when it comes to third-party builders, they seem to be the
Pain in
leading
the
game in town.
pain in
they
the
have
butt.
excellent marketing and yeah, they provide excellent functionality. Its biggest complaint is that it's not optimized, obviously, and you are getting some slowdowns and inefficiencies. But it's also evolved over the years too to become a little bit faster. But with the features that they tack on, and then now you're looking at third parties, things can get bogged down. And if you're doing a
And
very
buggy
large
as
site,
hell.
it's not ideal. Yeah.
They seem to have a fair amount of momentum behind them. Part of my call it apprehension, reluctance, whatever, comes from early experience with choosing the wrong products, and also having clients come to me. I can't even remember what it was, but I remember a fairly large website coming to me, and they had gone with the third party tool, and the tool was discontinued, and suddenly they found themselves basically, with locked out of their own content. Um, I'm trying to remember if it actually had broken or they could no longer work with it. Anyway, it was a matter of you couldn't just get in there. Well, first, the content didn't just transfer across, it didn't just stay in the car, but it ended up costing them a fair amount of money because I had to go into this tool and basically copy and paste their content. There was no reliable way to export the content into. By then, I believe Gutenberg might have been, was it online? No, Gutenberg wasn't online, so we had to just put it into the editor as it existed at the time. And the client was all about, he didn't want to just invest into another third party. But as a result, I've always been once bitten, twice shy about trusting these plugins. But Elementor seems to be on a very strong path and has a lot of support and a lot of people, quite an ancillary community that's developed to support it. So is
Well,
that
we could talk about it, but you know, just maybe you and I later. Because
no?
everybody else
Feel
has heard me.
feel free
Everybody
to.
else has heard me bitch. I mean, I'm not going to bore Eagle with it. He's heard me bitch so many times. I can't even. Like I mean, I was an Elementor guy too. Like I was an early adopter. I mean, I've been a subscriber for like 6 years or something, and I mean, I used it. I built like hundreds of sites. I still have to use it, and it's
Right, right. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Once you're invested in it, you're you're
well, my
kind
sites. My customer sites have it, right? So like, I can't. I mean, and I mean, my sites can go pretty fast with it, and they load pretty good. Don't really have any big problems, but there's issues. You have to set your memory so high, like 1024. I mean, you have to do all kind of crazy stuff to make it work. Now, if you use their hosting, apparently, and I haven't tried it, but I'm got maybe some opportunities that I might be able to. But Elementor hosting apparently makes things really, you know,
Mm.
cush, right? So it works real good. Yeah, that global community thing. That's Sharon runs
That's
that. 'Cause
Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Yep,
Pacific.
yep.
Yeah, I'm
She's the
curious. Before you started using Elementor, because
yep.
like I've been working in WordPress.
I built the stuff with code.
Okay, so before it was code.
I didn't use any page builder. I just built it with code.
Gotcha, gotcha. What
On
was it?
occasion,
What
I'd
was
find
it
it.
about? Because I mean, we had a number of third-party tools, WP Bakery and all those other ones.
Yeah, it's
What?
weird. Just sort of thought they were crap. I just wasn't. I was kind of afraid to go with them, and I was kind of cool with the standard, and then all of a sudden, things
What?
got.
I guess my question is, what was it about Elementor that
Oh
that
yeah,
made
yeah.
you jump in?
I was at uh, a local WordCamp, Riverside, and
Okay,
and uh,
maybe a presentation.
met Joe Simpson and some guy out of Palm Springs that talked, and he was doing something with Beaver, I think, and I just couldn't get over the name of Beaver Builder. Like I just couldn't. In seventh grade, just came slamming down on me, and I was like, I'm not going to build your Beaver or use a Beaver, be it to build it or
This is
anything
what
like
I
that.
love. Most of my friends really never get to that point where we really outgrow the third
I
grade.
just couldn't do it,
You
right? So then Joe was talking about Elementor, and I just had to build a freight company website, and I liked uh Template Monster way back in the day. I used to use some of their templates, and I went there and looked at um um one of their templates a shipping company, or a logistics company, and it was an Elementor, and it had some Crock-a-Block stuff with it. So I bought it for like $70. Took it, couldn't make no sense of it. Thought all this Elementor sucks, but I struggled through it for like a week. Got it up and running. Had the pages you wanted, and got my $1,200 in and out. Right. So um, then it was I want to figure this out. So I watched this guy WebMonkey, and I watched him build a one-page website in Elementor, and it was like bomb, and it worked. I mean, he showed me how to do it, and everything made sense. And I was like, I'm gonna try him some more.
and it sounds like you've never looked back.
No, well, I use
Oh, yes,
Spectra.
he has.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes, he has.
That's what I'm
We,
telling you. He's here, like Eagle's telling you, right?
everybody in our peer group removed.
Hey, Edward from Brass Ring Web Design popping in for a sec to tell you how we can help your DIY website project by making your website effective, not just pretty. At Brass Ring, we take a big picture approach to digital marketing, building a strong foundation that drives long-term growth. We use our hub and spoke traffic model. Yes, of course, we design high-performing WordPress websites that serve as your central marketing hub. We also coordinate traffic to it from key platforms like email marketing, SEO, social media, and ads. We align every aspect of your digital presence for lasting success. More than just ad managers, we're your partner, optimizing the entire customer journey to better use your time and marketing investment and deliver lasting value. Training and coaching you along the way means you continue to save DIY money and retain control. And now, back to our meeting.
Members when when Steve Kinsey lost his Elementor religion.
That's a true
Uh-oh.
story. Yeah, I did, bro. And I'm just not even
he
playing.
lost it in a big way. Let me tell you.
And I mean, I use Spectre blocks now, and I haven't tried Generate, but probably will on the next site or something, because that's Eagle's favorite. So I'm still kind of searching for a home. I like Astra and Spectra. It been real clean, and I didn't have to do much. What other Steve was talking about, all the work you have to do to optimize. I didn't have to do much of that. with the site raw out of the box with Spectra. So that was kind of cool. But but I've been following this all the stuff to build it, raw without any help. But when you say you don't want to use a page builder, I kind of take DK's you know ideology on that. That Gutenberg's a page builder. They're all page builders, So it's kind of like, okay, the one that comes with
Well, they are, but
WordPress.
I mean, the thing about Gutenberg is it was the first, the second, I guess, if you consider the classic editor the first, but I mean, it was actually part of WordPress. And if you
That's what I mean. But I
whatever,
mean, so what?
well, if you build something, see, because a big part of my ethos as a developer is I like to think in terms of if I walk out the door, if I build you a website and I walk out the door and a bus hits me or a meteorite or something, then I'm not leaving a lot of custom code. I'm not leaving my clients in a situation that a typical WordPress developer wouldn't be able to help them out of. And that, that's why I've always been reluctant about, tools that are separate or within.
Well,
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot more Elementor sites than there are sites built with the block editor.
And
that's for
that's,
shit sure.
go
And I
ahead.
mean, they build good. I mean, they do build well. I mean, they're easy. It's easy to do. It's so damn easy that it's like, but it comes with a like
There's
when
trade-offs, yeah.
yeah, when you want to do something for real, it's like he's not joking. Like he
I,
is
you
not
know,
joking when
yeah, I'm not an Elementor guy, but let me tell you, when it comes to the core WordPress, uh, using Elementor to create pages, headers, footers, it's still to be a lot more straightforward than what the block editors are doing with the way that they've taken and twisted the way WordPress works, right? Because the old WordPress you set
It's
up,
very, very different. Yeah.
you set up your website, you set up your blog page, you set up your homepage, and now the homepage in a block theme is actually the archive template, and it's like it messes with developers who haven't, when they first come into full site editing or block theme editing, you have to just totally throw out what you know in a certain sense and reorient your head. And it's so easy for newbies to start messing with 2025 and get so screwed up because they immediately mess up a template or the page template or it just Elementor. Like I said, I don't like it. I don't love it, but I can see how it would be easier to interpret because
Well, that's always been the basis of third-party builders. They make it easier, for the WYSIWYG minded
yeah.
to just streamline the process. But I think in terms of long term, what am I creating for myself? If I continue to be involved in the process,
Well,
and
I still use classic themes like Generate Press or Astra. My favorite is Generate Press. And so to me, that's still using core WordPress, but just using a theme that's not based on the nightmare that block themes are. I still use the block editor, but I use Generate Blocks. It's my core. And, I can build a website with that. And that's
Yeah, I
great.
mean, there's something to be said about that because WordPress had 10 years of development on that platform, and or using that methodology. It's way easier. Whereas Gutenberg is kind of, it was an open source project that was surgically implemented into WordPress. Gutenberg is not a part of WordPress. It's not native of WordPress. It's also a part of Drupal. It's a part of other projects, and it was kind of jury rigged into working inside WordPress. And so what you have now is this kind of monster that's just trying to be tamed. So it really wasn't hard for third-party page builders to outdo core, automatic.
Do we think I mean, maybe this is a rhetorical question, but are we still feeling like Gutenberg was prematurely born or prematurely integrated?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. For the majority of WordPress users, yeah, that's probably true. For solution providers like you and me, no, because we can read technical documents and we can provide that functionality to our clients. And our clients, who in turn ask us for modifications that they can do by hand, it fits that kind of sweet spot. And Automatic was looking for that type of solution for their end users. So if you, as a solution provider, implement your Gutenberg or your block-based website correctly, then you've effectively isolated the modifications that your end client can do, so that they can go customize the header a little bit without mucking up everything else.
Right.
But this is easier in practice. I mean, this is easier to dictate than it is to actually practice, because in the end, it really falls upon you as a solution provider to prevent your users from screwing things up, right? And that's what they pay you for. But
well, my business model was for years was at the end of the project, I would, and that there was a lot of emphasis on training and coaching to get them to where at first it was a lot of WordPress 101, and then later on it was more about making sure that they have the skills to do the particular tasks involved in maintaining, the day-to-day care and feeding of that particular website, whatever the needs are, And then Gutenberg came along and just suddenly looking at, when did Gutenberg come out? In, what was it, like 2017? What year was that?
Was it 2016? I think it was definitely pre
16. Yeah, and by that point, I had been, developing in the classic editor for 7 years. I was like, oh wow, suddenly this flattened learning curve was suddenly, okay, we got to learn this device. But listen, I didn't mean to derail the whole discussion or Mike's news. So, Mike, feel free feel free to go back to your news.
I can go through the last of this here. Obviously, Steve is the Elementor expert in this group. I haven't used page builders in 5 years. I don't really recommend them anymore. But it's a powerful tool, and depending on what you need to do. And if you've got a host of clients already on Elementor, you're sort of stuck using it. So anyway, there was a vulnerability. Steve, you probably saw this about the essential add-ons had some kind of PHP issue, I think.
Yep.
And it was a cross-scripting injection thing.
Yep.
So if you're using Elementor or using this add-on, you want to get that updated. WordPress WP activity log plugin had a problem. That was where the PHP problem was. You need to update to 5.3 or later to remove the vulnerability. Skype is shutting down. Most people know that now. Skype was one of the early video conferencing ones. They're not going to support it anymore. It's going away. Eagle said something that you have a chance to move all your client lists and everything from it. You can save it. You have until
May 5th.
May something.
May 5th.
Article probably talks about it, but if you want to save those contacts, you need to do it pretty soon here. Top 10 WordPress website myths. This is coming from a law firm, or at least a blog that serves the legal community. And they're kind of up talking WordPress up. And they're saying a lot of things you think about it. They're not really that bad. It's not as unsecure as some people think, and performance and stuff. Most of us in this group are going to be familiar with this, most of the stuff in this article, but there it is for, this is really for a lot of beginners. The Treasury Department is not going to penalize people for not providing their basic beneficial ownership information. This is actually from the Department of Treasury. This is their release. Yeah, I was really annoyed by this. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do it, but the penalties were pretty steep if you didn't, like 2 years in prison, tens of thousands of fines, $500 a day, something like that. But they, for whatever reason, the new Treasury Secretary has convinced them that they're not going to enforce this now. It's still a requirement, but there's not going to be any penalties. There's not going to be any consequences. And they are planning on rewriting it to apply only to foreign companies. Then I think Dave,
what was enforcement like up till now on
well,
that?
what happened was it got challenged in court, so it never went in effect. It was supposed to be by the first of the year. Then there was lawsuits, and then there was a restraining order, and it got lifted and was on again, off again, 2 or 3 times. And there's still court cases pending on that, but most of them are probably going to be dismissed because there's no consequences. Like one group, I think I represented 30,000 companies. They won, and so they're not required to do it. But the rest of us, which is why I don't know how you can have this under the law. It's like, we need equal treatment under the law. Why does this group of 30,000 companies not have to do it? And then the rest of us, because we weren't part of that class action, we do have to do it. Yeah. Anyway, this is all in the past now. It's you don't have to do it. I never did it. I was thinking about just dissolving all my corporations, say screw it. I'm a little not happy with government overreach anyway, but I'm not the typical liberty-minded person you come across. WP Engine and Automatic. This I got from Eagle's community, and I think it was posted by David Shargo, but this is the docket. And so the trial isn't expected to start until 2027, and it'll probably get delayed again. And but it doesn't look like this whole dust-up's ever going to, these two people are on a collision course, and it's sad, really sad what they're doing. They're not generating any goodwill here, and it's just money and egos, and it's kind of sickening, really. But anyway, that's the latest as of last week about the status of this ongoing lawsuit that we're all familiar with, and we'll probably hear more. Now, the week before, I had
and we've got the right people to answer this question, but how is this schedule and just the reality of the overall dynamic of this? How is this affecting WordPress and the average user?
Well, it's negative. I mean, it's not positive, right? It's like competitors are now like Wix and Squarespace, and other solutions are out there are trying to. They're saying, hey, WordPress it's unpredictable. We don't know what they're going to do. It's like it's in danger, right? Now, I don't think it's going away because WordPress is open source. Somebody could fork it. It's going to get maintained. But the drama is just negative overall. It doesn't do any good it's not building goodwill. It affects the branding. A lot of people who've, they're.
But I guess my question is more in terms of specific, fails. Other than the overall instability of wondering what's going on, how's this going to affect us? But I mean, how has this affected us?
I don't think it affects us at all, as long as Matt Mullenweg keeps his mouth shut. Things have calmed down now that he's been sort of shut down.
And he would
shut
block
off.
people from the repository. That affected.
Yeah, it was his game playing that was the bigger effect. This lawsuit's just my favorite saying, rich or billionaires or millionaires, whatever you want to call them, pissing on each other. It has no effect on us because WordPress is too big. I don't think it's going to go away. That the biggest problem was Matt's game playing, and that was pissing people off really big.
So that was overall psychically and the overall confidence in the brand, but we haven't seen the development.
Either he's seen the light or somebody shut him down because he's quieting down. But that's not to say it won't start back up. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Anyway, the benefit him down.
Yeah, the beneficial reporting is deadline is for March 21st. That's the requirement of the law. But like you said, Transure is not going to enforce it, but it is still the law. So there you go. And I
Yeah.
put a link in
Which,
there, chat, Steve, for you to the playlist from our last meetup group.
No, thanks, man.
Uh, those that don't know, the community is where I post the meetup notes, like kind of like what Mike's just going through. Is that
mhm.
I do sort of a news session too, and I post all of those notes in the community under help desk meetup notes. So there's a hell of a lot of information in there.
I appreciate that, man. I was sicker than the shit.
Yeah, he's probably put the link in the chat, and I always keep I switched it to his community link. You can get to everything on his website through this link. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
keeping that permanent now.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
this is the last of it here. The week before, I did a audio conversion AI tool that people really liked, and then I came across another one, an internet marketing girl from Australia, I think is where she's from. She really liked this one. So I went ahead and put Wondercraft in there as the free resource. They have a free option. I think you do like 6 of them a month or something. And then you have the paid version. The consensus was they liked the other AI tool from the week before better than this one. But I want to make sure they were both available for those that are interested in that. And that's basic was the news from Wednesday. I haven't got this Wednesday's going yet. I was usually doing while I'm in these meetups, but today I've been a little distracted. So
No, that's fine. And we're monthly anyway. So,
yeah, I
yes,
should have another news page come this Wednesday at noon.
got
So
it.
now, incidentally, the Woo Week goes from Wednesday to Wednesday. But coming up this week, we've got Steve and I have our meetups. I have the Spokane Coeur d'Alene WordPress meetup at 6 o'clock on Thursday, and then his is at 7. And there's
Right.
usually 8, 10 of us, 12 of us we'll meet at 6, and then we migrate and join Steve at 7. And then I have my normal weekly noon meetup, Woo Wednesdays.
Okay.
So be aware that those meetups are coming up for those that are interested.
And Alicia's Wednesday night.
Well,
Is
it's
that a separate meetup group? What's the title? I'm trying to look it up here now.
Well, I've got Steve is the Inland Empire WordPress
Oh
meetup.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Right, his is be at 7. I have the Spokane Coeur d'Alene WordPress, which is I took it over after the pandemic when nobody wanted to do it anymore.
Okay,
And
that's the
most of
one.
the people show up aren't really from the Spokane area. I think there's one. Scott is kind of in an area. Well, actually, there's 2 or 3. There's Judy, and then there's but really they come from all over the country. Most of them.
Cool.
Right?
There's a link that there's a link that shows the meetups and the days they're on and the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the app that Advanced Digital Collective, I've got a list too, and I should need to go check out Eagles again, make sure that I probably missed a couple, but I try to make them the ones that are online.
You have more than I do. I only list the ones that our peer group hangs out in.
Okay, yeah, I used to go to a lot of these. I don't go nearly as many now. I probably do maybe 20 a month, 15, but I was doing
which
4
was
or 5 a day there for a while.
which was the web help meetup that you host,
The
Mike?
WordPress one, well, Woo Wednesday, and then their Thursday one is let me see if I can find it here.
What's
It's on
it
that
called?
link. It's on that link I
I'll
just
get the
put out
link. I
there.
got it. There's the meetup.com link. Looks like we got 9 signed up so far, and it's the usual crowd. And Eric, Lance, is Eagle in there?
Yeah, I think
Ron, the web guy, he's kind of in the Northwest with us. He's over in Enumclaw. That's probably DK in there. It's pretty informal. We just kind of talk about, what's current news.
Yeah,
But we do get a few beginners will show up looking for help. We've helped a lot of people with their websites, but I always have someone like Eagle or Eric or DK or Steve. Well, it wouldn't be Steve; he's got his own that night. But they help me help others, and it's been working out all right.
and there's Alicia's meetup, the South Central Coast. It's on Wednesday night this week.
Yeah, I'll have that in my news because it'll be that
crazy
Wednesday.
and crazy ass various is tomorrow.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
have that.
that's a different kind of meetup too.
Is that the developer one or is that the
Yeah, that's a crazy
Yeah,
one.
that's the developer one.
is it online? Because he does one online, he does.
No, that we meet in person, he blows it off all the time. He won't even let me do it. But
Hmm.
uh, the one he does online is the developer meetup, and it's hilarious. I mean, it's a great time, but you got to be ready for some humor and
I don't have. So the one tomorrow night for various is online, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's not really a help desk meetup. It's more of a
bullshit session.
developer bullshit session. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
yeah, you never know where it's gonna go.
I don't have that one on the list. I
I'll
didn't.
give it to you. It's not really.
It's not one
Yeah,
I
no,
would
I've
put
been
up.
to them. I wouldn't been with you guys.
We don't
Sometimes
put
it's
it
hard
in
to
the.
get into that group.
We don't put it in the.
Yeah, it's not one you want to
We
invite
don't
new users
announce it
to.
because you
You
certainly
don't
don't
want
want to invite somebody to it.
to. Yeah, it's not a new.
I get the
It's not.
quirkiness of it.
It's
Yeah.
I'm more than
well,
Now I
it's
want to
just
go.
well, yeah, for this group, but there's not the average new user. It
Yeah,
wouldn't you wouldn't
Scare
want
them
to
off.
drop them in there. Well,
Yeah.
not to scare them off, but it doesn't address what their needs are.
sure.
Yeah, like
We
he's
are.
doing some stuff right now in there that he's showing us, and everybody in the meetup goes, "What, bro? Why are you doing this?"
Why
And
are
he
you
says,
going over this again? You talk about this every week. God,
"Yeah."
enough.
And he
No,
says,
but
"But it's great. It's great." We say, "Okay, man, go for it."
Wednesday night with Alicia, Thursday night with Steve or the Santa Cruz meetups, we welcome people who have the simplest problems and, try to work them out and solve their problems from them. And sometimes they're not so simple. Sometimes they're very complicated, even though they're new users.
Indeed.
There was one last week that was it was kind of gnarly, and it was it took 3 or 4 of us before we finally figured out a solution, but we got there.
Do you remember what it was? Because I was sick, man. What happened?
I don't remember. It was some weird theme that they were trying to do something, but it was using a weird page builder,
Oh
and
yeah,
so it took us a while to figure out how to change
yeah,
some little something she wanted.
yeah.
Yeah,
That shit can always be a bitch.
yeah, but we got it. It's always fun when you get 3 or 4 serious experienced builders or developers
Users.
knocking their heads. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yep. We've had some good ones. We've had some stumpers that should have been easy. Remember that one that yeah, Quinn,
When
yeah,
he
Quinn.
was using the full
When he was
site
using
editor, we're trying to
when he was using new Gutenberg. Remember that
Oh
Eagle?
God.
I think
Yeah.
Eagle
Never.
figured it out like a day
He
later.
went downtown on that one for like 2 days to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Well,
Have you heard from Quinn at all, or is he?
Oh yeah, I've got out with him during the playoffs because both of our teams lost. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah. No.
but I mean, we just laugh at each. I mean, I think he's got a job now. I don't know. I have to ask him. I haven't just on text
Yeah.
message.
Well, hope he's okay, man. I wonder
Well,
about
he's not dead.
stability issues
Oh,
there.
he's not dead. He's not in the loon bin. So
Okay.
And the big problem, what was it we had the other night? The guy with the Hetzner problem.
oh
That one was gnarly. We didn't have an answer for that one.
wow.
The guy.
Oh, he had that. He was using. He had his servers were in Germany.
Yeah,
That's
he had a WordPress site in the data center in the Hetzner data center in Germany. He thought he had he was supposedly
No
the new
admin access.
admin for this site he had inherited for a group of community people. And he didn't have admin access and no idea how to get it, no login at all. He could log into his terminal through Hetzner, but the terminal was doing weird thing with character replacements and stuff since it was probably German-based keyboard.
Oh, dear.
Very
And
earful.
yeah, we all did. And it was a,
Wildfire prevention website.
yeah, but it was, what was it? It was
A
installed with
wildfire
Docker. It was a
prevention
Docker. It was a
website.
Docker installed site, so there was no uh, database credentials in the WP config, and there was no database access, no WordPress access. There's no way we could figure. And WP CLI was not installed. We tried to install WP CLI through the terminal, but it couldn't find the PHP files, and it's just like,
Sounds like
man,
a nightmare.
it was a nightmare, and so we gave him a bunch of homework and told him to go find whoever did it and get the admin
Beat
access.
their
Because,
ass.
and also he turns out didn't have access to the domain registration. He didn't even know where it was.
Oh, wow.
He did have the Cloudflare access to the name servers, but not to the domain itself. So we told him, dude, if you can't get access to the domain, blow it off, get a new domain, start over. There's only like 12 pages in the website. It's like, because if you don't have the domain, the registration went up August 17th. So, come the end of September, it's going to disappear anyway, because Namecheap will take it offline. They only give you 30 days, and that's it. They'll take your site. Actually, it may be 2 weeks. If your account if you don't pay your registration, domain registration, they'll park it immediately within a couple of weeks. So yeah,
Well, what was the original developer missing in action, or
gone, disappeared? Yeah,
Got it from somebody else.
yeah? So this is where at every step, and I think I've done this to my own detriment. Is try to make myself redundant, because a big part of my my sales pitch and my model was about empowering my client and serving as a bridge between this great open source technology and their ability to use it effectively.
Well,
So
our resources page and the help desk support site, we have resource number 1, getting started. Don't put your domain in, to separate your stuff and such that you own the domain, that whole concept,
sure.
of protecting yourself. Because most people just don't think about that. They hire somebody and that somebody owns their domain. 2 weeks ago, we had somebody who, a developer, still had their domain agency, I guess it was, and wouldn't give them their domain.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I've been involved in especially in a number of like not for profits. Those can get kind of dicey because at one time the secretary had owned the domain and the treasurer had the hosting account and
Somebody else
everything
put up
was
the credit card.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the idea is, and I get it. This is why I say to my own detriment, one of the things that a lot of developers would do, whether they were ready to do this or not, is offering what sounds like a turnkey operation, which includes the hosting, the domain registration. Don't worry about it. We take care of it for you. But at the end of the day, the client themselves has no control. Their job is to keep paying that fee. But what happens if the developer stops developing? They go off and get into some other aspect of IT, or they move to Europe.
Well,
I've seen it all.
Even worse, and Steve knows this one well. These people are no longer a client, thank God. But this was a nonprofit that this lady was running. She inherited it from somebody else. It was on Bluehost. The domain was registered at Bluehost. The name servers were at Bluehost. The email is the Bluehost, and everything was tied to that domain. But the person that set it up was a different person with a different credit card. And so at the time that it came up for the account renewal, the person who now was running it was in South America on some kind of extended tour.
Lost
So
in the
was
Amazon.
not Well, yeah, but was not getting the emails for the credit card because the credit card wasn't hers and it wasn't, it's in somebody else's name. So didn't know that the credit card was expired. And so the domain, I mean, not the domain, the Bluehost account was not renewed. And so Bluehost took it offline. The website
Yeah,
went
it sounds like a
down.
huge account transition fees is what I see.
It was a nightmare. The site went down, the email went down, the name servers were down, and no way to contact this person because she couldn't access email. And it finally dawned on her after 2 weeks that, hey, I'm not getting any emails. This is weird. So she called and found out that, oh, site is down.
Yeah.
And and
Yeah,
that's why we
that was my
say
bread and
don't.
butter for a long time. Is
Yeah,
doing, yeah.
that's why we say don't put your domain, your name servers, your email all at the same place. Keep them in separate places because if one goes down, it can take the whole thing down.
Sure.
Anyway,
Right, right, right. And that's that I immediately think of backups because that's one of the when I started doing WordPress, the typical model was that your host would do snapshots, maybe daily snapshots for like a month. But the problem with a month is most people don't realize they've got an issue for beyond that, and of course this was back when we were in the days. Remember the days when it was unlimited bandwidth and unlimited storage space and all that sort of stuff.
well,
Now
it still is now.
Yeah.
Bluehost, Green Geeks, whatever. It's like DreamHost.
HostGator.
Yeah.
Ask them for $2.95 a month.
And there's still people that believe all that crap. But uh what is it? Most of these cheap domains, they don't give they here's free nightly backup, but they only keep like 1 week or 2 weeks of backups.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's a lot of companies like Hetzner. They charge for snapshots. It's a few cents, but it can add up if you want a snapshot every day. Um, Gentlemen,
Well,
it's
yeah,
been
but that's
grand. I do have dinner on the table, so I got to get going. But thank you so much for including me in the group today,
Stephen,
and
it was a
I will hope
pleasure.
to see you next time. I'm going to try to attend more often and just show my face a
Please
little bit
do.
more. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
and
it's good to
and
see
and
everybody.
also, I would ask everybody to please share this on social. Let people know that we're available. I was just about to step in and see if since I've got some pretty high-powered, experienced Meetup and Zoomsters in the WordPress space, if we might get some brainstorming on what this group can do to increase our reach, to increase our appeal, to make us a more valuable resource. I did put if you would save the chat, Stephen, and maybe take a moment, if you can, to think about ways that this would be a more valuable resource, both for you and for your clients. And I ask that everybody else do that as well. What would I
100%.
be
Yeah.
doing this?
I'm glad to see that you guys are still around too, because so many groups kind of just, floundered, especially after the pandemic and whatnot.
And this is my first experience as a host of a meetup. Simply coming out of pandemic myself, I decided to kind of re-engage with the world in a more social sense, and I found myself facing a banner letting me know that this group was going to die if somebody wouldn't step up to do it. And I stepped up, which, at this point in time, it's, I'm paying on the monthly rate, like so I'm into it for like $500 a year, which is not the cheapest way to do this, but I would like to figure out ways that we can get the group to grow, encourage sponsorship, encourage
Yeah, I have some ideas. Sure.
I'm looking
Yeah.
for, If you maybe can put your phone number in the chat, or you can PM it directly to me, so we can maybe have a conversation. I encourage everybody else to do that as well, because I would like to grow this group so it makes more sense, because it's we need more members, you know.
Yeah, and we should definitely do a FaceTime or a
Yeah,
Zoom between you and I.
yeah.
We can talk
Or
about
another
that. When I
way.
ran the advanced WordPress group, we had sponsors, but we also had the ability to leverage. And this is back before Zoom, right? So everybody we had Zoom. We just prefer to meet in person, and
Sure.
there were a lot of work sharing places that acted as
Yeah.
sponsors. All they did was just give us office space to have in-person
Yeah,
meetups.
before I took over this group in what was it, 20, the end of 2023.
Mm.
The group had not met since 2020, and it was an in-person meet at a coffee house here in San Diego.
Oh yeah, that's how
It
it
was
started.
initially
Sure.
out of where did you say you are?
I'm over in Mission Valley.
Oh, you're here in town. Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay. I'm always happy to see actual San Diegans. Not that we're a San Diego oriented group, but I mean we are initially a San Diego based group, and although our identity has spread because of Zoom, doesn't matter. I mean, you can be in a station above the Arctic Circle, but
Sure, but it's smaller. It's casual groups like this that are a pleasure to be in. So
yeah, I'd like to have it be. I love the casual nature of it, but I'd like to increase the numbers. So because when we get these discussions going, and by and large, we're not getting a lot of amateurs. It does become, and I love seeing the faces, because we got some great faces in this room, and very, I'm the baby in this group in terms of knowing what I'm doing. But I'd like to grow it into something that continues to be useful, and makes it a must attend, whether in the developer world. And I know it's an ambitious ask, but whatever you guys can do to help me grow this, I'd sure appreciate it, because well, it's been long enough. We're a year and a half into me doing this, and there's six of us here. I know
yeah.
there's more that I can be doing to make this happen. So any ideas are always welcome.
All right.
All right. Well, with that, I'll thank you, Stephen. And I guess we're 5 minutes from the end. I'll bring our meeting to an end. Um, I think I've said enough about reaching out to me to help, grow and maintain and perpetuate this group, because I think we've got something to offer, and especially, I mean, San Diego, the other San Diego WordPress group folded recently. They didn't have as many members, but I mean, right now we've got 1,050 members, and it seems like that's how many people indicated an interest. I know that some of it might be that those people are no longer WordPress amateurs, but this is why I'm interested in growing the scope of what we offer. Let's talk about small business. What are our challenges? How are we getting clients? Not just necessarily the nuts and bolts of how to do it. Maybe we need to increase it to 2 hours or whatever, but until we are truly filling those 90 minutes with the nonstop content,
I think you got
we'll
to have
wait.
a niche. You got to have some sort of niche. Some.
Any
Um,
thoughts?
I don't know what your niche is. No, but it helps. You got Woo Wednesday is very specific. Uh, our help desk is very specific. Alicia's meetup is unique, but also a kind of a niche. I don't know. It's just that's kind of the way I see it. 'Cause you got to have a hook, sort of.
like social media integration or
Well, what do you guys,
email
do you
marketing
find
or
yourself, and I know you guys
SEO,
go to a bunch of groups, but what's missing in some of the groups that you're going to? Are there
affiliate
times where,
marketing,
what's that?
affiliate marketing. That's a big e-commerce type thing that a lot of people, but there's not been a lot of. In fact, I've been thinking about starting a one of the WordPress meetups focusing more on that as
Check out Brendan's tutorial on what is it? Better links. Is that the one you use, Brendan?
That was
oh, okay.
Mark.
Oh, Mark. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's is it for affiliate links or a link shortener?
Well,
I
you
haven't
know, it's
watched
just
it. I don't
it's
know.
something that
It,
when we're
it,
talking
it
about
was
niches.
it
Oh, go
was
ahead.
for
Sorry.
shortening links, but it mostly looked like it was affiliates.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Okay,
know it's a big
affiliate
thing.
marketing.
I think that's what I see a lot in general. Is I spend a lot of time in either meetups or just like talking to people. There's a lot of technicians out there, and I kind of consider myself that, but there's not a lot of business related content in terms of how to run a successful agency, how to get clients, how to get the right clients, that kind of stuff. I think, to me at least, that I feel like that's not as heavy of a focus. Maybe there's other
But
groups that do that. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know either. But
Well, and
that
that's
might
the
be an
sort of stuff
interesting.
that interests me as a business owner, that I think would bring added value, since we do have, we do tend to have a developer heavy mix.
Right.
You know, I don't think, well, last time I think we had one or two newbies. And I do realize that having a presentation will draw this sort of thing. And as I'm hearing about affiliate marketing, I'm thinking, definitely I can look into seeing who in the space is available to present. I don't know how I would necessarily rebrand this group to be
Well, it would
thematically
still be
or
WordPress help. It's just I'm pointing out what Eagle was saying and an example of a niche, right? That
yeah,
you differentiate yourself from all the other ones.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it can
yeah,
help
yeah.
grow it if you're going to. I'm not saying
And
affiliate
these are
marketing
things
over.
that even the newest newbie who's got a small business, personal trainer or something like that, or somebody who's been doing this for 30 years, there are topics that are going to continue to be universal that we can all
Well,
learn from.
the affiliate one's interesting because people are telling me I have the WP Help Desk support site and there's a lot of links in there, and people are telling me all the time, oh, you should put affiliates in there. You should put affiliates in there, and I have a few, the ones I really really strongly believe in, but I'm always afraid that you know like what's the guy named Adam that does the Sure Cart and the Sure all those things, you know at one time he was like the greatest tutorial guy coming out because he's teaching you all this new stuff, and now everything he puts out is all affiliate.
Yeah, he's a shill, right?
He's a
WP
shill now,
Crafter. Yeah.
right? WP
He-
Crafter, and so it's like I don't want WP Help Desk support to become just a WP Crafter shill, or like WP Beginner. It's now a marketing tool for the people that bought it, right? So you can't really trust everything that's on that site because they tell you, oh, this is the best, and actually it's their plugin, which is not the best. I don't know. It's an interesting topic to me because I would like to have more affiliate uh, income, but I'm afraid to turn my my help desk site into something that people view as a shill.
Well, I mean, this this is starting to make me feel like I have a I have a socialist daughter, right? So we have capitalist versus socialist conversations at all times, and I do believe that there is such a thing as being a benevolent capitalist. And I think what you're talking about right there is a matter of, not every action has to lead us on to a slippery slope to nefarious money grubbing greed, that we can retain ethics and morals and present whatever it is we're presenting in a factual way, and like what Mike does. Mike does his news. He presents the stuff. He lets us know. Listen, by me mentioning this doesn't mean I'm putting the full force of my endorsement behind it, because I haven't tried it. But I mean, I'm making you aware of this. So I think awareness has a great deal of value. And it doesn't, I mean, yeah, the more cynical of us, and I think we have pretty good cynicism in this room, are going to, worry about that thing. Can I trust the information I'm getting? But whatever we do doesn't have to be that. And this is we. This is not my group, man. This is Mike's group. This is Steve's, Brendan, Eagle. It's all of our group. I will never do anything, it's part of my ethos on my About page. I will never become part of any transaction that doesn't benefit both sides. It's either win-win or walk away. That's foundational.
Capitalism isn't really. It's
What's
it's
that?
got a bad name, smeared a lot, but capitalism is just the science of applying assets for whatever end. And it doesn't mean it has to be profit. You can take
And
your
that you,
assets
well, that
and
you,
do a community thing and never make a profit. It's still a form of capitalism, but it's so polarized and political. People,
sure.
oh, only greedy corporations, and that's capitalism because they don't care about the little people. Well, it's how do you apply your own assets for whatever objective you choose.
Well,
And
and
some of
that
the best
you
capitalists
that you
are
have the
far left,
stakeholder.
right? But anyway, sorry.
Well,
You don't have to
all right,
raise
so-
your hand, Steve. Just jump in, man.
This is a WordPress question, and I'm going to send it to Eagle in chat because I think
Yeah.
he can help me. So I'll do that.
So-
I need to do something to get the SSL running.
Okay. You had a situation. Okay.
Eagle on
yeah, okay.
LJM.
We'll talk.
All right.
We'll talk. Uh,
Yeah, just to
like
finish out
here's
this
one of the
guidance.
things I'm afraid of is like, so on WP Help Desk, I talk about e-commerce, well, WooCommerce. Yeah. The alternative is like something like SureCard and North and whatever. Now, if I put links on there, SureCard, an affiliate link, I don't have a lot of experience with SureCard. I don't know how well it runs, and I can't really recommend it at this point. I can tell you it's an alternative. But now if I put an affiliate link, I'm making money off of those links. So I'm hoping you click on that link. So that, that puts, that's
Bias.
the dichotomy that I get into. It's like,
Well, we can't try everything. And if we you're at that point in time, you're becoming a marketing or a marketing venue. It'd be like,
but see, that's what I don't want to be. I don't want to be a marketing venue. I don't want to be seen as a marketing venue. I want to be seen as a help desk.
Well, there's going to be
Yeah.
inherent bias if you're doing that, but
Yeah.
you yourself can regulate your own. You just be the way you're acting, that you're cognizant of it. You're probably not going to be like a WP beginner or Adam, right? You're going to
Well,
do it,
no, I'm not.
and you're probably going to disclose, hey, I like this product. But,
Yeah, well, right
you let
now,
them know, you get a little kickback if they use it, but
right now I have a couple of affiliate links, but I put them over on the side and say, hey, this is an affiliate. Here's the link, but this is my affiliate link if you want to use it.
yeah. And I don't think there's really a problem with it. It's good that you're conscious of it, though. I
Yeah.
can understand why you don't want to. Yeah, it's an ethical consideration.
Yeah, I'm the same
don't-
way.
I don't-
And there's so much of that in the WordPress scene where, like, as you guys mentioned, there's so many
Yeah.
guys that just shill crappy hosting, shill crappy products. And I never wanted to be that. And I keep getting approached by people wanting to sponsor me. And I have to turn, a number of people down that it's just like, I can't support this product. But
Yeah, if you don't
Right.
believe in it,
I've
yeah.
also taken money now. I mean, and it's something I'm kind of new to. So I'm grappling with this too, Eagle, a bit.
well, there is I met Syed at a marketing event in July of 2019. It was one that was put on by Neil Patel and Eric Sue, up in LA. And these are guys who exist in the marketing space at a really high level. And sometimes that whole thing, I have a mixed bag of revulsion and fascination for marketing for the sake of marketing. I've been in sales since my teens, and I know that I can't feel good about selling something that I don't believe in. And yet I understand the realities, affiliate marketing. I don't think any intelligent person is going to expect or assume that simply the fact that you're making awareness. I guess the difference is the difference between promotion and awareness. If there's fires in San Diego, and I say, hey, the Red Cross is giving out blankets down at the end of this street, or giving out water or whatever, that's not the same as my saying, the best water in the world is down there. Now, if the Red Cross wants to put up billboards somewhere else, or even put up a billboard saying, we have the greatest water, or we have the really coolest blankets, whatever, that's their marketing message. I don't know if I'm articulating that. I'm not piggybacking on that and saying, yeah, I believe everything you say, but I think it's useful to people if we, especially in a specialized field like WordPress or Woo or whatever, if we make people aware, hey, this product is available, it exists. Especially if it's a solution that addresses a problem that hasn't been addressed before. Here, these people are offering a solution for this. Why don't you look into it? I haven't tried it myself, but this is what they're called. This is why Mike's news is always handy. There's a lot of stuff that I'm aware of, products and what have you, but at no point in time, even if Mike doesn't say, hey, I haven't tried this, I don't assume that. So I think it's okay to not, go into the affiliate marketing space. Make people aware of things. If you start hearing things about it, that it's bad, then maybe it's time to renegotiate or put a disclaimer or something. But I would say that you would be serving your users as your platform develops, Eagle. If you make me aware of something that I wasn't aware of before, and you make a few bucks on it, I say more power to you.
We
You
say
told
that
us
too,
about
we all say
micro
that too, but
themer.
if you get too heavy with the damn, I think what Eagle's saying is if you get too much like it, you're sort of like a used car salesman. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, why, you're just pimping it for $15, 5 cents or whatever. I mean,
Well, and that might be a possibility if you suddenly like turn it over to your nephew, here,
Yeah.
handle affiliate marketing for me, and the kid goes crazy with no life experience but for at least for the people in this room, I don't see that as a danger.
well, no, we don't. We don't worry about it in this room, and we've asked before each other when we've gotten cool things like Eagle was sharing WP Vivid one time way back when, and he shared his affiliate link because DK said, "Hey man, share that shit," because now's the time to do it. And so, and we
Yeah.
used it, right? And so, then that's cool, but
Well, yeah. I mean, I can understand when I'm talking to a group of people, and I can say, hey, I'm this tool is awesome. This tool blows me away.
Mhm.
Whereas, yeah, SureCart, yeah, I'm trying it out. I don't know. I'm not sold on it, but I can't.
I'm not sold on it yet either.
Yeah, I know. It's still like in the. Let's don't go to SureCart hole, but generate blocks. The new 2.0. It's mind blowing. It's it's a great tool. It was a great tool before. It's now just friggin' awesome. It's like, so I can get behind that. Do I have an affiliate link for that? I don't know. See, I don't keep track of it. That's the
Well, I think if
problem.
I was doing affiliate marketing, which I haven't been doing, I think part of my deal would be, and I don't think that most companies are going to have an issue, is to, I would probably ask for a couple of sample accounts, as part of the deal. One that would serve me so I can feel better about having tried the thing at beyond a free level, and then also another one that might be offered as a promotional giveaway or something like that, which would serve, in terms of getting traffic for me, but also
Right.
serve as a promotional tool for somebody else. So, but so are we agreed that maybe having talks about affiliate marketing and having resources and information on the latest on affiliate marketing would be mutually beneficial for all of us?
Well, there's not anybody really doing it on a regular schedule anyway. And the ones that do are all like on whatever that weird social media platform is.
ClickBank?
No, what's the one we're both on, Eagle, that we don't really participate much on?
Blue Sky,
Alignable.
alignable. Oh,
Oh God.
There's all kind of like meetup groups about, groups about get together for 12:15 until 12:45 on,
Yeah.
Thursday to talk about, the local greatest bullshit. And
At
it's
the
that,
local realtor's office in Aptos.
Well,
yeah,
what do they do that's different from Meetup?
nothing. I don't think they do anything worth a shit.
They're
That's why I'm telling you, I don't go to them.
they're not a meetup. They're a
No. I'm talking about Meetup, the platform.
yeah, I know. Alignable's not a meetup. It's
Another like
supposedly a
Clubhouse.
local area clubhouse networking. Like, oh yeah, let me introduce you to Joe. He does websites. Let me introduce you to Sally. She's the florist. Sam over here does realty, and we help each other out and that kind of crap. And people are like, oh yeah. Add them to your network. Add this to your network. Sure, you can be in my network, and nothing ever comes of it because I don't really
Right.
know
Makes
what
no
to
sense.
do with it anyway. Yeah, it makes no sense.
Right.
I don't think I've gotten any business off of it in the
So as far as the question of niche, there's lots of them. Like Amber Hine does the accessibility. That's what her meetups are all about. She's got quite a following. Um, Corey, she's a big Divi SEO person, right? The meetups all the time are basically right around those two. And if you're looking to specialize and you want to attract a specific audience, because right now you're pretty much getting people that are, you're probably in advanced to me, but mostly people know what they're doing. You're not really attracting I think what you want is you want beginners and intermediate folks coming in to grow your space. And what
yeah.
Bill's saying, if you specialize a little bit and then people looking for that kind of content, you're probably going to grow a little bit better.
Let
Now,
me add this.
what groups?
Let me add this.
Yeah.
When we talk about the affiliate stuff, I'm not saying, hey, oh, you should go create an affiliate niche, because that might be a good, because if it's not your niche is kind of something that turns you on, that about, that you love to talk
I'm
about.
not bringing that specialty to this group.
Specialist. There's lots of little niches I'd like to improve on. Like I would like to learn how LinkedIn could help me, but I don't want to spend a whole lot of time researching it. And I might go listen to somebody talk about LinkedIn. It's boring bullshit about, oh, it's wonderful, but there's never any real learning, right? I get really tired. I have meetup groups that you go to the meetup group and they just, even when you get down to talking about something special, they don't really tell you they don't teach you about it. They just talk about it, and
they don't want to give away their secret.
Yeah, they don't want to give their secrets. I mean, there's a person in our group that comes to our group, talks a lot, and he's very passionate, but he doesn't actually give away
his secrets.
Anything that's learnable, the educational. Here's a take home you can put in practice.
There's no value to the actual presentation. Yeah.
Just a
Well,
well, they're not presentations, just a lot of talk, a lot of talk.
he's
Likes
just
to
talking
promote
about
them,
everything, and he keeps going.
promote our name, promote this thing. I'm Mister. I've learned this. I've been doing this for. I'm Mister Great at it. Uh, what we try to do in our help desk is like, I'm not trying to tell you how great I am, because I'm not great. I just learn. I'm there learning. But what I try to do is solve problems.
Well, yeah, but
That's
but that is probably, in my humble opinion, the most effective way of
But that's a big difference than what.
establishing your own
but that's my
credibility.
niche. That's my niche,
That's right.
right? I've built that. I've promoted it. I pulled a bunch of people into it. Right. I've got Steve in it. I've got a couple of other. That we
That's what we
spend
do.
time working on problems. You go to, and I love Jen Harris. I love her. And every time I go to her meetup, she makes me a
You love
co-host
who?
because Jean Harris,
Gene
Baltimore.
Harris.
Baltimore WordPress.
Yeah,
Okay.
But her meetups, they're not really help desk meetups. They're you ask a question and she'll throw some information your way
Yes.
and send you on your way. And maybe that'll help you and maybe it won't. But we don't solve the problem there.
And there's never
See,
enough time. She's always like, we don't have enough time. I got to move on. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She's a little
So-
particular, different.
Not to bitch about her, not to put her down in any way.
No, I get
But
that.
I'm just saying
You
that's
know,
her niche, is just to be try this, go this direction, and she's good, and that's cool.
And
But,
so so she's not solving the problem, but the primary value of her group is
Well, she'll have presentations.
Yeah,
she has
a presentation.
presentations, she has rules, she has setup, she has lots of informative help desk articles on her site, and she gives people directions to go look up stuff.
Mhm.
So, in a way, she sort of helps solve problems, but she leaves it to the person. I don't know.
See, with,
Doesn't
with
walk 'em right
Eagle,
through it.
Let's
Right.
let's don't talk about her. That's not what the issue is.
yeah, and I don't ever recall you putting anybody down, Eagle. You're really good about that, man. You
Yeah,
build
oh,
people
yeah,
up.
yeah.
We don't, and what he's saying though is that we take them from the beginning, like they come in with the problem. We start like they don't know anything, and we work it all the way back to the very beginning, go through every damn thing. I mean, sometimes it takes us an hour and a half to like get somebody's title running right.
No, and that's one of the things that I admire about this particular peer group is that that attitude of helpfulness,
There's a
of
few famous-
altruism.
There's a few famous incidents, and one of them, Eagle was there, and everybody in here was there except for Brandon and you, I think, Ed. And we helped this lady that comes to our meetups, and she's got visually impaired. She wanted to set up a local instance, right? She wanted to be able to run local WP.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man. We started at 7 o'clock on a Thursday. I think we ended at 10, 11. And we just got through her problem. And it's because we were telling her no, switch over your mouse to the left. And she'd be like, no, it's not there. And then finally her boyfriend comes from the other side of the house. He's in the meetup too. He comes ripping through and he goes, guys, it's not there. What the fuck? And because she's looking at it like a panel screen. And I don't think any of us ever experienced that visual like impairment, how they operate, like in real life, like when you're trying to solve a problem for them.
Sure.
Yeah. That was
Holy
tough.
shit balls, that was an exciting night. And
Yeah.
I learned a whole lot. I learned a whole lot about how you have to really be super patient. And I think we all did. Like I think that was like a time I was still working here and been in and out of the house for like a couple of years now, and I was still working out of my home. And man, it was incredible. And our meetings would go late on Thursdays sometimes. And Eagle started
now
early.
she has-
Eagle starts early, an hour early now. He starts at 6 and goes till 10.
Well, see, and that's why I
now
have
she
no.
now she
I
has
have
her
no-
own meetup.
Yeah,
I
now
have
she
no-
has her own meetup. That same gal.
I have no, for that reason, if not others, I have no qualms at the decision I've made is that this is a good group. Willingness and service mindedness is a foundational principle for everybody else
Right.
here.
Well, them young guns today, like Brendan and Mark and Matt, they went on for like 4 hours watching this guy struggle with oxygen. I mean, dude was having a rough time.
Oh my God. I had a whole hour-long meeting with a client, came back, and he was still working on it.
Bro, I was feeling his
wild.
pain. I was like, I was
Oh boy, let's don't get off on oxygen. Jesus,
now
that
the
could
new
go.
version though. They did a thing today. They did a thing on YouTube, like a live build out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
shit you could do in Elementor like right now, because I have an old site that I have it done on. We're overlapping some pictures. They couldn't get done. It was unbelievable.
So I think the point that Eagle was making, and I'll reiterate, is about the niche thing. With Eagle
Yeah.
and Steve, we know what to expect. Eagle will have a fairly comprehensive news portion, and then there'll be the help desk. And then he's built that up, and there'll be 25, 30 people there pretty regularly.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
On
not
Sometimes.
good
all the
nights
time.
we
It
get
goes
that.
up and
Yep.
down, but you're up around 20 on the low side, and you can go higher. But he's built that up. We know what to expect there, and we're all learning because it's a help desk, right?
Yep.
If you want to brand your meetup,
Well, I mean,
Eagle's great.
theoretically, that's what this is supposed to be or used to be. And though I've belonged to it since I think 2014, I never attended any events prior to this.
What do
And
you,
certainly the fact
what
that
is your,
what's that?
oh, I'm going to your meetup page, see how it's branded there. I'm going to go look at that.
While you're doing that, Steve, is SSL working for you now?
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
Yeah. All right.
I was looking for how to do that, and I couldn't see how to do it. And I was just said, I'll talk to you today, and I'll get at it.
Hey, I want to be cognizant of the fact that our recording is still going.
We're
And
good.
it's
We haven't
Turn
saved
it off.
that. We
yeah,
haven't
it's
saved-
time to turn it off. So obviously I'm going to keep the parking lot. and I
Delete
hope you
delete
guys
the
stay
part I
around.
said. Delete everything I said about Baltimore, please.
Yeah, because she's
It
our
wasn't
friend.
bad, but
She's our
yeah,
friend.
we
We
don't
like
want to
her.
be talking about people.
God, don't put me in the don't move me into advanced editing.
We like her.
We'll just cut the meeting off then earlier. That's the
Yeah.
easiest way.
What the hell?
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
so I'll officially thank you all for being here. I'm going to keep the parking lot over, and this discussion can go even more informal, and it can even get more controversial if
So
I have
so
to
we
go. I
just
got dinner.
yeah. We
But,
just solved a problem for Steve on grid pane, and the SSL on grid pane is a little weird. It's got the auto setting. I always turn that off because it's always the thing that'll screw you up. You turn off the auto, and then you go into the domain and you do a refresh on the DNS, and then if that works, then you do a refresh on the SSL. And if your zone records are correct, then what it does is it forces a reload of the SSL. And that usually solves it.
I have to go. Good to see everybody.
Ciao.
See you
to see ya.
probably
Right,
Wednesday
so-
or Thursday or both. So
thanks
see you
for
later.
being here, everybody. I'm turning off the recording, and see you next second Monday.
Yep. Good to see you, Brendan.
Let me go ahead
too.
and turn off that recording.